So welcome to the next episode of How to Get the Most Out of Your AJC Coaching Career School experience. My wonderful guest today is my good friend, Jacquie Moses. Hi, Jacquie.
Hi, Dave.
Jacquie and I were just talking before I hit record about, the structure of today and being in flow and just relaxing into it. So yeah, it was a really nice way of sort of warming up for hitting record and starting. So Jackie's going to kick off reading her bio, I think.
Thank you.
Over to you.
So from an early age, I knew that I wanted to help people. And I remember being a teenager, pointing to a therapist in a TV program and saying to my mum, I want to do that when I'm older. And in 1999, nearly 20 years later, I worked with my first professional life coach, and I had another aha moment. This is what I want to do. And this was an intuitive glimpse into my calling. In 2000, I trained to be a professional life coach, and I continued to train with world-leading training organizations and programs in the world, and including the AJC School. And today, I'm passionate about working with women leaders, and that's getting more and more clearer for me. And I'm interested in working and passionate about working with women leaders that know they want more, they can give more and achieve more, but secretly they don't feel good enough.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I know that place. And I help them to have less on their mind and get clarity about their true identity and what's available to them and their potential and what they want to create. And I do that through my work as a 3 principles practitioner, a transformational coach for nearly 22 years, and my learnings and teachings around non-duality. So it's an absolutely integrated approach.
Yeah.
And I think I offer quite a unique perspective, because I've worked with thousands of people for 20 plus years or more, and including sharing the principles for 10 years with a range of people. So I've shared the principles with CEOs, with senior leaders, 2 UK prisons. A lot of people know me from that, sharing the principles in 2 UK prisons, the first ever in the UK, being part of a cutting edge team that brought this mental health intervention into prisons for 4 years with Beyond Recovery. I've worked in communities with mothers of children that are being exploited by gangs. I've worked in education, sharing this understanding and making a difference. Organizations like PrEP, Cook, Centrepoint, the Very Group, coach people in Marks and Spencer's. The homeless community, we did a big project at Centrepoint, coached their teams and started the staff. And also in the last 2 years, I've been able to share an understanding about how we create our experience, this inside out and understanding with NHS clinical and non-clinical staff right across the whole country. Could be working with a doctor, an oncologist, head of A&E. It could be anyone, a nurse, London Ambulance Service, and in the field of social work. And I did a very special project when I went over to America with the Spark Initiative. It was called the Cyprus Initiative back then. I did a one week internship with them. And myself and one of the colleagues, Helen Neal Ali, they were supporting women in safe houses, women that had been prostitutes, women that had been exploited on the streets, and now they were in safe houses in hiding. And I had the pleasure to run share this understanding with them, and just really see them just connect to their wisdom and their own knowledge. It's just beautiful.
Wow.
And now, you know, I say I'm a trusted partner and coach to coaches and 3 principals practitioners who want to deepen their understanding while they create a thriving practice from service and love. And that's just been a natural development emerging of people wanting to find out more because I'm a bit more visible.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's amazing. Thanks, Jacquie. Like, one of the things that just strikes me sitting here with you is your stillness. And you said, it's funny, you said to me, like, before we hit record, you were like, so what's it been like doing the interviews? And I was sharing some of the challenges I found. Is like when you forget, you know, you forget there's a camera and there's record and there's you know, maybe some questions to ask or whatever, and you just get totally swept away in it. And like, there was a moment before you started reading your bio and you paused, and that was it. I was in. I was like, I was straight down the camera into the Jacquie stillness. It's just beautiful to be around. Oh man, this is going on all day. I don't care about 30 minutes. I'll clear my diary.
Thank you
like,
for that.
no, you're welcome. One of the things that struck me, and loads of so many things in in what you were saying. So you talked about a calling to work with leaders. That's just fantastic. And then you spoke, it felt energetically to me anyway, like in a like a quieter but a more passionate, a more intense way about how you support people, you know, who maybe we'd consider like are on the fringes of society or are marginalized, excluded in a way. So I'd love to hear about that a little bit more, actually. You know, you talked to, and then that, you know, the Spark Initiative and all that kind of stuff. Talk to me about about the Jacquie that speaks to, the Jacquie who helps the marginalized people who, for whatever reason, have just ended up in circumstances that they just don't want to be in.
Well, I'm really passionate about that,
Mm.
Dave, because, you know, I've always leaned towards supporting people in community, just everyday normal people.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a rawness about that. There's
Yeah.
a rawness, there's a realness, there's a say it as it is. I love all that. That's just me, right? And there's a vulnerability there as well. There's a vulnerability and a lot of strength,
Yeah.
untapped strength. And I think if we're all really honest, they reflect us. I see myself in them. There's no different. I see you.
I not just heard that, but I really felt that. Like I just scribbling some notes. That's why I'm looking down there. Like, because I'm actually just sort of thinking, right, when I replay that, because I always replay these before I write about it in my newsletter. I just want to watch that smile that came across your face as you talked about, like the ordinariness and the rawness and the realness, and then you kind of went, "That's just me." Like it was like your whole persona was captured in that instant. And then my mind went to, I bet you bring that out in leaders. I bet that's what leaders love is when they're with you, they get a sense of that it's okay to be real and raw, and the power. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, I'm blowing away. Go on.
But I love that you're saying that. I feel quite moved talking about it.
Yeah,
Connected me to something, and I've got some notes on screen as well, but I'm not
yeah,
creating that at the moment. I may do when you ask questions later.
yeah,
But people sometimes ask me, how come you can work with so many different types of people? And I've worked with thousands of people over the years. I forget that sometimes
wow,
because I don't actually. If I logged all my hours as a coach, which I never did, I would have thousands of coaching hours,
Yeah.
right? And running groups, workshops, and doing community work, helping people get jobs. I've done it all. Worked with mothers, and there used to be an organisation called Sure Start
Oh yeah.
in the community. When I first started as a coach, my work was helping people feel more confident. And the reason I did that was because that was my journey.
Yeah.
That people used to see me as someone that was really confident, but I never felt it myself.
Yeah.
So that's always been my journey when I've been getting coached or supported.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share that with people. The more I felt confident, the more I wanted to share that it is possible. But if we look back, if I talk from this standpoint, when we have less on our mind about who we are and what we can do or can't do, less thinking about ourselves, we're just naturally confident.
Yeah.
We use the word confident, but it's just naturally happening. Things are happening and we are doing things or we're not.
I love that. It's like the need to be confident falls away.
Yes.
So it's not so much a presence of something called confidence, it's an absence of lack of confidence.
Yes. Or thinking you're not confident.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, well, take that away and I'm just free to, like what you said there, just to do or not to do, whichever, Beautiful.
And so sometimes people ask me, how can you work with so many different types of people?
Yeah.
Like boys that are in gangs, when I go into schools, myself and Liliana, to prison, to CEOs, to powerful coaches, to anybody.
Yeah.
Working with doctors, I'm working with psychiatrists, sharing this understanding with them. Right. I remember my first psychiatrist that came up on my screen because I have a contract with the NHS. I was like, what can I talk to her about the mind when she's trained in the mind, right?
Yeah.
But they bring themselves because I create a space where they're not bringing their role. I don't coach people's roles. I coach people.
Yeah.
I coach people and their humanness and their misunderstanding about who they think they are.
Do you know what's in? Sorry, I'm just going to butt in for 2 seconds. Sorry. It's terrible, I know. Rubbish interviewer. There we are. What the heck?
Please.
I've just had this phrase, coach of the people, just going around my head for the last 5 minutes. It was just so interesting then when you said I coach people.
Yeah, right. And it's coaching them, and we're exploring this. It's an inquiry into our misunderstanding about who we are.
Yeah.
The misunderstanding about who we think we are.
What I heard there was like, you coach beings or being out of which a mind is formed or a character is formed. But it all stems from that, like that deepest, the sort of deepest place that we can articulate. And that's what I feel from you. I just feel the stillness and the power and the strength and the love and the softness of who you're being, out of which the character and the activity and the person of Jacquie arises. But the depth is pre all of that, And when you were saying about the psychiatrists and understanding the mind, and straight away I thought, yeah, but you don't talk about the mind. That's like the end point in many ways. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, beautiful.
And the thing is, take the title away, and you're sitting in front of another human being.
Yeah.
That's all it is to me. I don't care about title. I used to be really intimidated by job titles. I'd be like, oh, they got these big jobs, right?
Yeah.
And the more I stayed with that feeling that used to come up in me, that's been being around the principles and knowing the non-duality and just knowing that there's something arises, the feeling of fear or insecurity is not a reflection of me or the other person.
Yeah.
And being with that, I started to, it just would disappear in the conversation. Like it might even rise at any time, but it would just disappear. Then you know that where you said where you just zoom, you just
Yeah, straight in. Yeah,
in there with them.
exactly. Yeah,
Like it disappears, and then you're in a different zone of different field with them.
yeah,
And I navigate from there. I trust myself in conversations.
yeah,
I trust what will arise, and I don't have any particular approach. I have an integrated approach from everything that I've learned.
yeah.
I trust that.
I love that. Yeah, it's an approachless approach almost, isn't it? So it's not. So I think sometimes when people hear this, they can hear, oh, okay, so what Jacquie does is she takes no approach. And it's not quite the same thing. It's that in the same way that you could have anybody in front of you, this is what I'm hearing anyway, you could have every approach out of every experience that you've lived. And any one of those things you could pick up and utilize in the moment. And that would just come to you naturally and organically, and would come from your closeness to yourself, if you like, is what envelops the other person. You enroll them into your own relationship with you so they can be more deeply enrolled in the relationship with themselves. That's sort of how my brain wanders it through. Yeah.
I think as coaches, our role is to create safety,
Yeah.
right? And we'll do that in different ways.
Yeah.
But the fastest way to create safety is to listen.
Yeah. And
Listen.
to feel safe yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that's the starting point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because you can try to listen, and if you're listening kind of like, oh, I hope I hear something that I could respond, you're going to be back in your own quagmire. So I love how you've spoken about grounding and the richness that adds. And I really, I just got the sense that your breadth of experience and everything that's brought for you is just then so richly available for all these different people. And then, yeah, I love that you said that. I'm just sitting with a person opposite me, and they might have a job title or they might be in prison, but it's just another human.
Yeah, you're making me laugh then, because what we used to say to the guys when we used to work with the guys, and we worked with hundreds of men, right? Across, we're very well documented. I work with people, they just reside in different places.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Different residences.
Yeah, just got a different postcode, that's all.
Some of them reside under HMP on leave.
Yeah.
Or Nottingham.
Yeah.
They're just residing in different places, yes, and they're in prison, they've committed crimes. I'm not making light of that. I'm not saying
No.
I'm not saying anybody should be out, but they are human beings.
Yeah.
And we've seen from the work that we've done that we've seen transformation happen in front of us.
Yeah.
So many, thousands, hundreds. So we've got people now that are out on the 3PGC board, like Derek, right?
Yeah.
Speaking at conferences. So there is no, I'm not attached to the outcome of what people should see or hear, but I am a stand for them, creating what they want.
I love that. Because I'm guessing, when people have had, the background they've had, maybe there hasn't been someone who's taken a stand for them in the past, or maybe the person who's taken a stand for them actually was just exploiting them in one way or another. So to have somebody who that's such a rare and unique and beautiful combination, isn't it? To have somebody who's totally there for you and at the same time is uninvested on a personal level in your own journey. That must be, maybe the first time that anybody's ever done that for some of these people that you've worked with. Maybe the first time that anybody's taken a non-invested stand. a stand of unconditional love. That's what I hear.
Yeah, I agree, and it's not just the men in prison, right? It's
No,
anybody that we work with,
yeah,
anybody that
completely.
I work with, because firstly, the place that I come from is that they're not broken and they don't actually need a coach. They don't actually need me. Right? That's the place I'm coming from.
Yeah,
That they have absolute access to innate well-being.
yeah,
They're not broken. They might think they are. It might look like they are.
yeah,
Their behavior crazy sometimes.
yeah,
Just like thinking, why are you doing that?
yeah,
The young boys that we work with. And when you sit and talk with them and they drop below that, they want to have families. They want to have, they want to have a girlfriend, they want to have a family, they want to work, they were so bright. Most of them are really bright.
yeah, completely. Yeah,
Right. And so that's the part that I love, connecting with them and creating possibility, supporting them to see what's possible for them.
yeah,
From the innocent thinking they may have.
yeah, yeah,
And that's the same for me. I've got loads of innocent thinking that's keeping me
yeah.
stuck. So
Well,
I
none
just,
of us wake up in the morning and think, do you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to ram my head full of crap. That's my plan. It's completely innocent making work of this.
and I see it that if I can have so much crap in my head
Yeah,
and I've made the choices that I've made, I can be with the choices that they've made.
yeah,
I might not agree with their choices,
yeah,
they do, or what they say. And this could be from leader to anybody right across and everything in between, someone in prison,
yeah,
everything in between. We're human beings, and our human experience is that we create our experience based on our perception and our
yeah,
experience and what we
yeah,
know. And when we know better, I love Oprah Winfrey's quote, or Maya Angelou's, when I know better, I do better.
yeah, totally.
And,
Yeah,
and I changed that to when my thinking changes, or when I understand who I am,
yeah,
then I show up differently and behave.
yeah, yeah. That's such a beautiful, simple distinction, isn't it?
Doing the best with what I
Yeah,
know right now. That
yeah,
is all of us.
yeah,
I don't see like I'm working with someone separate, like there's a separate person that
yeah,
I'm working. I used to,
yeah,
but that could be me.
yeah, completely.
Yeah. And I look at it like that. I've drunk before and driven my car when I shouldn't have done, just a
Yeah,
little bit, maybe an extra drink,
yeah,
or done things.
yeah,
That that
yeah,
that could be anybody.
yeah, completely.
There's so many things that people have done that if they really thought about it, if we came down really hard on them,
Yeah,
that they might be, to listen to someone say, why'd you come in and work here, miss? Everybody thinks we're the scum of the earth. That's
yeah,
to us as a team.
yeah,
Shocking. I was just like, really? Is that what you think?
yeah,
Scum of the earth. And I've had some of the most beautiful, touching expressions of love from myself and from the men and my team I've ever had in my whole life.
yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. I,
And that makes that all available for me now to share with everybody else.
yeah, no,
So what's
completely.
possible?
Yeah,
If you can have it in a prison with stone walls,
yeah,
you know, very concrete building,
yeah,
in a harsh environment, really, corridors, locks, every door's got to be locked
yeah.
behind you. If you can have that in there, I know I can have it in with anybody. That's my certainty.
And isn't it amazing that the mind is so powerful that it can create all of the physical circumstance you've just talked about, sitting on a beach with a bank account full of cash. And you can feel just as isolated, just as locked away, just as alone, just as if someone's turned the key behind you, you can feel like scum. It ain't geography.
Absolutely. It's got nothing
Yeah,
to do with
beautiful. Oh, Jacquie, that's just so gorgeous.
we're
I remember it's quite a few years ago now, must be quite a lot of years, but I remember there was a young soldier who was brutally murdered in Woolwich, so not far from where I live.
I remember that day.
Yeah, I remember that. And just terrible outcries and, pain, and people on social media and bring back the death penalty. And it was one of the first times where, and a friend actually said to me, you're not angry. And I went, oh, no, not at all. They were like, well, how's that then? What they've done is awful. I'm like, yeah, but if I thought what they thought, I might have well wielded that as well. It's only by the grace of God that I don't have their thinking. Because I can get angry and lose my temper at irrational stuff. Show me somebody who can't manage that. I can certainly do that. There's some guys drove past yesterday. We'd been singing in the morning, and a couple of guys were effing and blinding each other out the car, and I just looked and I thought, yeah, that could be me. I could go there. I could just totally lose it and think it's the other guy, and amazing.
I love that. And I that when we can be that honest with ourselves,
Yeah.
we can be with it in other people.
Oh, completely.
When I can be with that myself, all of the extremes of my humanness.
Yeah.
And the extremes of it, and I'm talking about, and the despair as well, and the joys and the happiness and everything.
Yeah.
And you spoke about something about the person being on the beach, and what I got, and I've done talks on this before, is how we can be prisoners of our minds.
Exactly so. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, prison of our own minds, and completely oblivious to that.
Yeah.
Really think it's something else. Oh, Jacquie, we could talk for days. I feel like I should ask you a question, but there's so much in there already. Like, okay, I'll ask you one schooly kind of question. What was your favorite thing about the school? Like, looking back, is there like a single memory or something you think, oh, I didn't expect that? That's just the best. What would that be?
There's so many. I didn't think the school would have the depth that I'm used to. I have to be honest.
Yeah.
There was 20 amazing, incredible coaches and facilitators and practitioners of all different experiences. And the depth and honesty and vulnerability that we shared in groups and even one-to-one outside of the school parameters was incredible.
Yeah.
The support that was in the school that Ankush created from the day one.
Yeah.
I didn't feel any competition whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was just, Ankush used this word, compersion. And compersion meaning that you want the best for yourself and everybody else.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah,
right?
feel that.
And that was really available in the school, and we lived into that. We really lived into, Ankush had this phrase, all boats rising.
Yeah.
Your boat goes up, everyone else is going up. Right?
Yeah, I love that.
And I really, that was so incredible for me to be in a space, and I've been in some amazing, loving, created spaces.
Yeah.
But we're in a business school, really, right?
Yeah.
Have that depth and love.
Yeah.
Family we're like a family. We're still online connecting.
Yeah.
Connect more. It doesn't matter that there's no attachment to how you connect in the group.
Yeah.
Right? Some do it more. Some are really involved and engaged, and some of us are less engaged.
Yeah.
and that total inclusion, and people reflecting back who they see you as.
Wow.
Because, you know, you can forget who you are in the world, right? You forget what you do. I mean, sometimes people say, God, you've done all that. And I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to play it down, but it's just I don't go in through the world thinking I've done this, I've done that, I've done this.
Yeah.
You know, I just take one step at a time.
Yeah.
But to have people reflect back, not what you've done, but who they see, like
Yeah.
really seeing you.
Yeah.
So it smashes through all your concepts of who you think you are,
Wow.
right? It just blows it all out the water.
That's so cool though, isn't it?
And it's like it's like this. And
Yeah.
you're getting that regular back from different people, right? Acknowledgements and so it's like we're totally creating each other, like this creation.
Yeah.
So not even it wasn't part of the we weren't told to do that, but it was just a natural thing that was just happening. That you're being created all the time. You forget the nonsense that you think about yourself.
Do you know what occurs to me is that there was a particular phrase you said a couple of minutes ago. Like, you know, it was a business school, and it occurred to me that it sounds like what you all created, uncovered, was the business you're really in, and fell out of the thinking of the business that you thought you were in.
Yes.
And when you did that, when you dropped into the business of like the one you're really in, then the implication of that was this beautiful feeling, this being there for each other, this constant awakening to how people see you, and so who you are and not who you think you are, and the enforcement of that. And I just like had a flash of then all the different institutions you work with, like where prisons see that, where school children see that, where medics see that, where people helping, you know, people who've been abused or whatever see that. And that constant revelation, that's a whole revolution right there, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's the work that we've gone in and done in the prisons. It's we
Yeah,
started to see who they were,
yeah.
and then started to sit there in days, see who they are.
I
Be
love
involved
that.
in everything. And I want to also say that, you know, I joined the school, and I've said to Ankush and I've said it to other people, and I really had to humble myself,
Mm.
right? Because I've done a lot of things, right? And you can relate to this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Done a lot of things. And outwardly, I look really successful. But on paper, I look successful. Got lots of qualifications, got lots of experience. But I've got the evidence to show the transformation that my work has had with people. But on paper or my bank account was not reflecting this.
Mm.
Not earning what on one level, know I could.
Mm.
Forgotten, and I started to forget that who I am, that Jackie, you could actually be making more of a difference in the world
Mm.
and creating a thriving practice.
Oh, wonderful.
And
Yeah.
coming from the communities that I was in, that wasn't a conversation.
Yeah.
That wasn't a conversation that we were in, and so it felt really hard for me at the beginning. I knew it was where I needed to be,
Yeah.
but to be in a conversation about not just being of service and not just having a nice feeling,
Yeah.
but creating a thriving practice.
Yeah.
That was
Wonderful.
why I
Yeah.
joined the school and had to like, yeah, this is what I want. Let's stop pretending that I don't want this.
That's amazing. I love that. But I felt then it was almost like, I'd be really interested to see what people, you know, they're watching and listening make of that. But it felt to me like it was like a parts integration, you know, there's that whole like soulful, deep connected feeling, etc. And then the very personal, very real, very raw human wants and needs and desires. And as you were talking there, I felt like they came together. And it was like I had to, you know, I had to acknowledge, and I totally relate to that, my human desires to create this thriving practice to, you know, reflect all this other amazing stuff that I do in the world. That's brilliant. I love it. Jacquie, people are going to want to reach out to you. How do they do that? What's the best way to connect with you?
They can get me on info, and I'll spell Jacquie, Jacquie, Moses, mother, OSES.com. They can get me on Facebook, and they can reach out to me. They can message me.
Brilliant.
And then they also can get me on LinkedIn.
Amazing. Jacquie, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.